Jasson Dominguez, nicknamed the Martian, the New York Yankees signed him in 2019 in the international free agency class for $5.1 million after he drew comparisons to Bo Jackson, Mickey Mantle, and Mike Trout. Switch hitting outfielder, throws right-handed. Dominguez, now at 19 years old, has seen some struggles in his minor league career. Yet MLB Pipeline still has him ranked as the Yankees' third overall prospect and as the number 52 prospect in baseball. This is the Jasson Dominguez Prospect Pipeline. My name is Derek, and let's get into it. Jasson Dominguez is a very, very interesting case because he has all the tools. You look at he had all the tools, like he had all the tools to make an impact. And in 2021, at 18 years old, it was his first season in America, first season in the minor leagues. And it was a little bit of a struggle for him. 56 games, 7 of them were in rookie ball, 49 in A ball with the Tampa Tarpons. And Dominguez hit 252 with a 353 on base, but only a 379 slugging, just 9 doubles, a triple, and 5 homers. Drew 27 walks, but struck out 73 times. He only stole 9 bases. Those strikeouts were killing him. It was not good for him. This year has been a little bit better. There's been an improvement. Still in A ball with the Tampa Tarpons. 259 average, 361 on base, 435 slugging. That gives him a 796 OPS. He's got 15 doubles, 1 triple, 7 homers this year, 33 walks. He's stolen 13 bases, but 75 strikeouts. That's in 57 games. So just one more game than what he's played last year. So the numbers have gone up for Dominguez, but the strikeouts are still there. And he's going to have to figure that out. Let's be honest. Dominguez is MLB Pipeline scouting grades on the 2080 scouting scale. Whereas 50 is average, anything above is above average, and it gets more above average as you go up. Anything below is below average, and you get more below average the lower you get. 55 hit, 60 power, 55 run, 55 arm, 55 field. He was considered, a 5-tool prospect, a legitimate 5-tool prospect, and he played in the Sirius XM All-Star Future game last year. He hasn't been dominating. Last year he didn't dominate. But he was one of the youngest players in A ball last year, the second youngest to be fair, the second youngest position player, and he held his own. Wasn't amazing, but he wasn't bad. And I think that should be taken out from last year for Dominguez. He didn't dominate, but he was 18 years old, the second youngest position player, and he held his own. He wasn't special, he wasn't amazing, but he was solid. He wasn't crazy, and he did miss 2020 no minor league season, so he didn't get to play in the DSL of the Dominican Summer League. When he first signed, he had plus speed grades, but he's kind of thickened up a little bit. So we don't know how athletic he'll end up in the long run. He's kind of he still has good speed, and he's still got good arm strength, and so he could still stay in center field. Maybe he'll end up in right. We don't know. He does profile well in right as well as center. We'll see where the speed ends up because he has gotten bigger since he signed. So that's maybe a little bit of a concern. You don't want him to get too big because his speed was a big part. His speed was a big part, and it hasn't been the same since he came over to the U.S. So we'll see if the Yankees figure that out. But I think the big thing here for Dominguez is, even now, he's still just 19 years old. He turned 19 in February. It's not going to be 20 until next year. It's not a sprint with him. I think it should be realized. I think people try to rush prospects too much. They go off the hype. And the hype is all amazing. Don't get me wrong. And I had the hype. I was riding that hype of Jasson Dominguez. I was like, oh, and as a Red Sox fan, it was like, why do the Yankees got to get this guy? Like, this guy's literally being compared to Bo Jackson, Mike Trout, and Mickey Mantle. Like, all the Yankees got the guy's named the Martian. Like, the Jasson Dominguez hype train was ridiculous. But it's also, you got to realize, pump the brakes a little bit. Like, not like he was 17 when he signed, I think, or 16, or however old he was. Yeah, he was 16 when he signed. Like, pump the brakes a little bit. He's still just technically a teenager at 19 years old. You got to pump the brakes a little bit with the hype. And obviously, if he flies up to the minors, amazing. But prospect development is not linear. And I think the big thing for Jasson Dominguez, realistically, the big thing is, can he get that speed back, but can he slow down the strikeouts? The Yankees really haven't had a legitimate center fielder that's like an elite center fielder in a while. Aaron Hicks is not an elite center fielder. He's not a bad player, but he's not an elite center fielder. That's definitely true. And Jasson Dominguez has that potential to be an elite center fielder that maybe the Yankees haven't had since maybe Curtis Granderson, maybe. Maybe even if you want to go earlier, maybe Bernie Williams. Like, I don't know if Bernie Williams would be considered elite. That's a little bit past my time, tiny bit. But Dominguez has that ability where he can legitimately be an all-star caliber center fielder. But that, like, the potential, the ceiling for him is so high. It's literally like up here off the screen. Like, that's how high his potential is. But the floor for him, especially because he's so young and not all the skills he's still very raw in a sense. The floor is still low for him. And you see it a lot with young prospects, especially the international prospects. They sign super young. That floor is low. But they have all the tools where they can be a legitimate game changer at the big league level. Perennial all-star, be an MVP voting. That's the ceiling, but the floor is still low. So I think the thing with the guy like Jasson Dominguez is pump the brakes a little bit on the hype. He's still doing well. Obviously, he needs to cut down the swing and miss. Obviously, he needs to cut down the swing and miss, or not necessarily the swing and miss, but he needs to cut down the strikeouts. You don't necessarily have to cut down your swing and miss to lower your strikeouts. Not necessarily. They kind of go hand in hand, but not necessarily. It depends. Because you could still swing and miss just as much on the first and second strike, but if you don't swing and miss on the third strike, you maybe put the ball in play, stuff could still happen. 75 strikeouts in 57 games this year, 73 in 56 games last year. That's just too much. That's 128 strikeouts for Dominguez in 113 games. That's too many strikeouts, especially considering the fact that he's not drawing a lot of walks. He's only drawing about one walk every 2 games. A lot of the big strikeout guys who have success, they also draw like a walk every game as well as a strikeout every game. Like perfect example, Yasmani Grandal last year at one point, he was walking. Felt like 20% of the time. It felt like he was just walking so much. It was like he was hitting 200, but he had on base over 400. And yeah, he struck out a decent amount, but he walked so much that it kind of offset it. But Dominguez, his strikeouts are the big thing. It's that thing just sticking out. It's like, it's, you want to believe the hype in him, but those strikeouts are not great. Now, with Dominguez, people have kind of brought their expectations in a little bit. People aren't comparing him to, Mickey Mantle, Bo Jackson, Mike Trout anymore. But he still has solid to plus tools across the board, and he's switch hitter, gets good bat speed from both sides. Emily Pipeline says he has tremendous bat speed from both sides, actually. And now he did do better as a left-handed hitter in his pro debut last year in 2021 against righties. But he has very raw power, and he does have a lot of high-end exit velocities. But, in 2021, he faced the most advanced pitching he ever faced. And he did swing and miss a lot more than what we'd ever seen him. But remember, this is a guy who is technically an amateur in the Dominican Republic. He misses the year he gets to play in the Dominican Summer League. And then he goes 7 games and 8 and rookie ball, which basically is nothing. That's a week of rookie ball. And then he throw him straight into high A. I'm not high A, low A, technically, A ball with the Tampa Tarpons. That's such a jump in competition from your last full season was as an amateur, and then your first, and then the next season you get to play is a pro season against an A ball. That's such a big talent leap from what he was facing to what he is facing. So you got to expect a little bit you got to expect that, he's not going to be some crazy talent, right off the bat. It does take some adjustment. Now, the big question is, it seems like the swing and miss adjustment hasn't been there this year. There hasn't been that big adjustment for the swing and miss, which you would like to see, obviously, but it really hasn't been there, unfortunately. You know, I hope it comes. That adjustment comes for Dominguez. Not as a Red Sox fan, I don't want him to become an amazing player because like he's going to play for the Yankees. But as a baseball fan and someone who's on the Dominguez hype train, if he can cut down that swing and miss, he's going to be such a good player. But he's got to cut down on them strikeouts, the swing and miss stuff. You just cut down on that because that's really the one big gaping hole in his game is swinging and missing more than what he was expected to. And I'm sure the Yankees have someone on that and trying to work that out. But it takes time. And I think that should be recognized. However, Dominguez, if he reaches his ceiling, will be a game changer for the Yankees and a franchise player for the Yankees if he reaches his ceiling. However, I still feel that worst case scenario, he could be a decent player. And he could be one of those guys where all the tools are there except for the hit tool. And he becomes kind of Joey Gallo-like in a sense of it's not going to hit for a great average, going to strike out a lot, but he gives you everything else you need out of the player. I know Yankees fans haven't been amazing from Joey Gallo, but fans do tend to give their homegrown players a little bit more leeway. They tend to. It's just what happens. So, as a baseball fan, I'd love to see Dominguez hit that peak. But as a Red Sox fan, if he does, please don't let it be with the Yankees, because I don't want to see the Yankees doing anything. I don't want to see the Yankees doing anything, and anytime soon. Anytime when I'm alive, hopefully. So, yeah, I think that's going to wrap this one up, though. I'm still hyped for Jasson Dominguez. I still believe he can grow. It's just going to take some hard work. But, if you're not willing to put in the hard work in, then, what's the point? And I think he can put that hard work in and turn it around and get back on that, high prospect trajectory. I really think he can. He's still ranked number 52 in baseball by the league pipeline. Evaluator self-confidence in him. He's just got to get rid of that kind of swing and miss stuff and that striking out a lot. He gets rid of that, and he's going to be a very good prospect and hopefully for the Yankees, a very good player in the future. Make sure to check out all the links in the description, the website, podcast, Instagram, Twitter, plus all the crew's Twitters. Make sure to like and subscribe while you're down there. You got Red Sox content, Yankees content coming on the way, and also a bunch of other content. And more later today, we will have a prospect pipeline, a second one of the day. This one will be covering the NBA draft and who will be taken 1 through 3 in that draft. There's a big 3 in that draft. Who's going to go 1 through 3? Make sure to check that out. I'll be up at 1 p.m. Eastern today, Wednesday, the 22nd. And make sure to check out all our other content. Make sure to check out our Twitter as well. We'll do Twitter Spaces in the Red Sox games. Hopefully, we can do maybe during Yankees games as well. We'll see. There's more Red Sox right now, but we're trying to get that Yankees crew built and grow that kind of Red Sox-Yankees rivalry, get that brewing here. But yeah, that's going to wrap this up. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Derek. This is the Jasson Dominguez Prospect Pipeline on Bleacher Brawls, and I'll see you next time.